Hello students, we are back with our lecture on financial market and services for MBA finance specialization, and we are on the unit number 3, that is on the microfinance for financial market and service. And today, after in the last lecture we have covered up what is microfinance, how does microfinance work in India, what was the need of microfinance in India, and what are the features of microfinance. Now we will be proceeding on the term income generating activities. Generally, income generating activities and microfinance institutions, they are confused with each other with their terminology, but they are different from each other. And when I have told you the definition of microfinance, so I have always said that microfinance is for income generating activities. So now if I say microfinance and income generating activities, they are the same thing. It may be to some extent, but when it comes to micro enterprise, it becomes different. So the first what we are going to start is, what are the income generating activities? So an income generating activity which is mentioned here, or we can use the term IGA, it is that activity which is for a household or a small group within the community. That means it is meant for a small household or a community. It means those people who are not having any livelihood, who are not having any employment, they are in the need for generating activities for income, regular income for their livelihood, and those activities they are termed as income generating activities. These activities include agricultural activities, like you are doing normal farming, and other activities like livestock raising, when you have certain livestock and you are nurturing them, you are have poultry farming, you have harvest processing, and other trades and services which are related with a small group. Fine. These activities when defined are termed as small business, the small businesses which are managed by a group of people. We can say that income generating activities are the basis for microfinance. Means when a person goes for microfinancing, the main purpose is to generate certain income for their livelihood, and it is income generating activities. Why we need to define this differently is, the reason is that microfinance is for various purposes, but one of the most important purpose for microfinance is income generating activities. And this is how we define income generating activities. And the basic activities, or rather I should say the potential activities which are generate income, which are generally in India, which are found in India, are: the first one is your food drying, processing and preservation. If we go to the rural or India or the village in the India, we will find that many of the people, they are engaged in processing of foods, making like achar, chutney and all from the region where there is, say for example in Shimla, there are n number of plants into foods and processing, and we can see that government of India has also given them facilities for processing, and they are also financing that. So it is also income generating activities for the people who cannot go out from the villages and they want to generate income living there. Second is the preparation and marketing of dairy products. All the products, we know that all the products, the dairy products, they can be marketed nowadays, and people are moving towards fresh cow milk, and all these things are also termed as income generating activities. The third one is the agricultural production, which we all know that is done by the farmers. The all type of agricultural products, they are included in income generating activities. Poultry raising, livestock, these are all included into income generating activities. If I say from the livestock or the farmers, the other category is the handicraft and shopkeepers. In this category of income generating activities, there are certain activities which require technical skills and which are nowadays very popular. Here they are mushroom cultivation, silkworm breeding, beekeeping, forestry produce. These are also the activities which are promoted nowadays, and many of the people or the women, they are into these industries, and these are the income generating activities. The basic feature of these income generating activities is that this activity help in a regular income to the people who don't have any formal education, or they are not qualified for certain types of job. So these activity help them in generating a regular income, which is a source of livelihood for them. So, up when we proceed further, we have to differentiate between what is a microfinance institution or a micro industry and an income generating activity. So, it is important that we should know the characteristics of income generating activity. The first characteristic is it should be a source of income. I should not be saying this because when we say the term income generating, it means certain income is generated. So, we need not to clarify it. It is not any supplement of income, it is a source of family income. The first thing which is important is that it should be a source for the family income. Fine, it is not that I am already having a business and now I am trying to have another business, then it will not be income generating activity. It is important that the income generating activity should be the only source of income. It should not be a supplementary source of income. Secondly, it should be, if it should not be formally registered. Fine, it should not have any GST number or it should not be tax paying, because when it comes to it, then it will become a company. You all are finance students, you are very well knowing how a business is formed. So, it is very important that we should understand what is the difference between a company and a IGA. When I say a company means which is formally set up, which has a designed structure, which has a designed organization, and it has a formal office. So, it is not a company, it is informal and it is meant, it does not pay tax, it is meant for generating income, and here the setup cost is also very less. Why we take it? Because if the cost is high, then they are vulnerable to shocks. So, that is the reason. Fine. Little reinvestment. What happens with IGA is that it is income generating activities, and I say the most of the people, they are poor people or they are socially and economically backward people. So, what they do is when they start generating business, when they start generating income from the business, what they do is they don't reinvest it. If I say, if we go to a formal business structure, what happens is, if we go to a formal business structure, what we have people who are earning profits, who have a profit margin, they get the profit and they are again reinvesting that profit into the business. But here it is very clear that these industry, they do not reinvest. Main motto of this industry is to generate the income, and they also calculate their profitability from day to day basis. This day to day basis means they do not have that a balance sheet will come up, then we will be plowing back our profit. It is not there with this type of industry. Fine. Traditional technology is used in the when we talk of income generating activities, they use traditional technology which they know. If I say about, they are knowing about the poultry, they are knowing about the livestock. So, when they know about livestock, poultry and all, they are very much familiar and they do not need any technology on it. So, it is a general concept that when we say IGA, it is for traditional technologies, and they do not want to diversify their business. They are the activities which are going regularly from a number of years, and even there is no value addition in the business, means they do not want their products to be diversified. If they want their products to be diversified, then it becomes what? Then they will be reinvesting their profit, and I have earlier also said that they are not reinvesting their profits. So, when they do not reinvest their profits, it means that they do not want to expand their business. The main purpose is only what? That we should get day to day profit for what? For their income and expenses. Fine. The income is generated and expenses are done. They want this only to be done, that is termed as income generating activities. The birth of microfinance or the evolution of microfinance for those income generating activities. But as we see later on how it has advanced, this income generating activities have also advanced, and later on it has become that how to set up income generating activity. So, the process for income generating activities also become a very point to be discussed. And it is also that, see, income generating activity should be regular. We cannot say that ki once we have formed an activity and now we will be getting returns all the time. No. And which income generating activity should be choose, that is also a matter of question. So there are n number of points which are to be kept in mind when we are deciding this IGA. So there are certain steps. We coming to these steps for getting IGA or setting up an IGA in our rural area or in our any type of area where we need. The first one is the identification. It's fine. What is this identification means? Identification means I want which type of industry to be established, which type of activities to be done. Fine. If I say any activity, it means that I should be having the knowledge of it. If I say I should have poultry farming, what activity should be there? It should be poultry farming, it should be beekeeping. So we should also keep in mind that what activity I have identified for myself, and these identified activities are to be implemented. So I have to keep in mind that this activity I have decided for me, I have the knowledge of this activity, I have certain knowledge about dairy products. So I will be starting from the dairy products industry or dairy farming. Fine. So these are the different activities where we can be identifying, which I have told you earlier. They are the potential. It can also be some trading. Fine. Nowadays online craft shows, they are also there, online platforms for craft and all, we can also go for them. The second one is the technical feasibility. What is this technical feasibility means? I am living in an area where we cannot nurture the poultry, and then I am establishing a poultry farm there. So will it be feasible? No, it will not be feasible. Secondly, if I say that I am going and I am establishing a jam industry and I will be making certain apple jams, but we don't have apple there. We are in this plains and we have to set up a business here, and how can I plan that, because the cost of transportation of apple will be so much high. So before setting any industry, it is very important that we should know its technical feasibility. Secondly, whether it is possible or not. I am trying to produce any certain product which is not technically possible. So the second important thing is the technical feasibility. Third one comes your economic and financial profitability, which is the most important thing when you are finance students, and when I am going to produce a thing for the first able to earn this need of doing the business. What is the income generation? That is known as your financial profitability and viability also. When I am collecting so much of cost, when I am investing so much of money into some activity, it is very important that I should get certain return or certain profit. So I will be checking that also, and that is what? That is my financial profitability and economic profitability. It is also termed as viability. At certain cases, it is also known as financial economic viability, which we will be discussing when we are discussing the business environment of micro enterprises. Third is planning the operations, how the operations will start. I am starting my business, and at the time when I am starting, we don't have apples on that time. Suppose I am starting apple processing industry or a jam making industry, and I don't have the apple at that time. The apples are not ripe at that time. So at that case, this my operational planning plays a very important role. When should I start the business? Fine. Next one is the planning for the marketing. Where should I sell my products? Who will be the customers? And in the last, what we need to do is, when I plan all this thing, then I approach a microfinance institution to finance my IGA. Fine. So these are the steps which are taken while setting up an IGA. The first one is, I will be identifying which type of IGA I am choosing. Is it technically feasible or not? It is profitable, it will generate profit, and what time it will be generating profit, that is also important. Then I will plan my operations and my activities for marketing. In the end, when my plan is prepared, then I will be going for the financing. So finally, to setting up of my industry. This is the steps which are involved in IGA. Now, this term is generally used with another term which is
is where study microfinance and distinct
our mind very regularly, and in the recent times, see the date 1/7/2020, when the government of India, it has given up many guidelines, and a basic guideline is what will be a micro enterprise. We have earlier taken into consideration the income generating activities, but the other term which we need to understand when studying microfinance is micro enterprise. And what is that micro enterprise? Micro enterprise is an enterprise where investment in plant and machinery does not exceed 1 crore rupee and the turnover does not exceed 5 crore rupee. See, this has started in country by when it was 50,000 and 1 lakh, then it reaches to 10 lakh. As the microfinance has evolved, as the microfinance has come up, these microfinance industries have gone from 1 crore rupee to 1 crore rupee and a turnover of 5 crore rupees. And these micro enterprises are what? These micro enterprises are the enterprises or the company where they have 10 people or less than 10 people, and it can be a lower scale business, it can be a family business, or it can also be an asset building. It can be a asset building. Now micro enterprises, what finally we should get a final term for micro enterprise, that is any enterprise where the investment does not exceed 1 crore rupee and the turnover should not increase 5 crore rupees. All these terms are very clear to be understood, because as we go further and as we start proceeding towards micro enterprises and microfinancing, each and every aspect, a small aspect, that how this micro enterprise have the funds, what will be the funds, what will be the structure, is to be understood. And that is why the basic definition and the basic it is changed recently, so we have to keep in mind that also. Fine. And these micro enterprises are small businesses. Right now the entrepreneurs are coming up with micro enterprises, and the government is also giving them very funding facilities which are very easily available. And we also know that in India the ease of business has evolved during the times, and with this evolution the micro enterprises have also gained up a scale and they play a relevant role in the economic development of our country. Now coming to the objectives of micro enterprises in India, we come to the first important aspect of this objective is that it provides employment. And to whom does it provide? The people who have limited skills and education. Here I am not talking about the people who are already qualified, who are having degrees here. We are talking about the people who are having a limited skills, means that they have some agricultural skill or they have some other skills, like they can generate, they can grow something, they can make certain paintings, they can do certain handicrafts. For those people we are providing employment. The second objective is, see, it covers all the aspects of micro enterprises. First is your economic development. We are talking from day 1 and lecture 1 that their objective of microfinance is the economic development. When we will be having these micro enterprises, naturally we will be creating job, we will be creating self sufficiency among the people, we will be creating employment for the poor people, and when they will be getting jobs, they will be getting livelihood, they would be getting employment, naturally the economic development will happen. And our second objective covers that. The third is, it provides large employment to the rural and urban areas. Now the micro enterprises are not limited only to the rural areas, they are in the urban areas also. So we cannot say that now that the enterprises are into the rural areas or the agricultural enterprises can be termed. No, micro enterprises, what we have said in the definition is, micro enterprises are what? They are the enterprises where we have an investment of 1 crore in the plant and machinery. So in those enterprises, they are also in our country as well, in the urban areas as well as in the rural areas. So they provide a large scale employment. Secondly, what they do is what? When we have enterprises in the urban areas and the rural areas, our youth, they are traveling from urban areas to the rural areas for working for those enterprises. And from that we can say that they also mobilize the natural resources. When I was talking earlier, I say that there are beekeeping, there are a number of natural resources. In our country we have abundance of natural resources. See, from the geographical setup of our country, we have resources, we are rich in resources because the climate of our country is also helpful in it, and we have a number of resources. These resources are helpful for creating the jobs, secondly creating employment, setting up business, and when we have certain industry based on these resources, it will help in mobilization of the industry. So, the micro enterprises also helps in mobilizing natural resources. Then they create employment. Naturally, whenever there are industries, they will create employment. No entrepreneur will work all alone. He is going to give jobs. So, I also say to the students, become a job creator so that you can provide job to the people. And by micro enterprises, what they do is, we say that micro enterprises, they are not the formal sectors, but nowadays I can say that these micro enterprises are an important part of the formal sector, and they create a job opportunity even for the formal sectors. Fine. They are also helpful in achieving their targets with limited finance. In micro enterprises, what happens is that they have their own targets and they are able to achieve those targets with their limited resources, limited finances. So, that is a very important objective with the micro enterprises, that they very well know that our limitations are this, and they work with those limitations. This is not even the objective, this is an outcome of micro enterprise also. Now, we have studied both now, IGA and micro enterprise. It is very important, we should be very much clear about it. So, the first is, one is the activity oriented, the other one is profit oriented. Activity oriented means, first I will decide the activity, what is the activity, and I will say what is my capability of selecting an activity. Remember that slide where I have told you that first I will identify that activity, but when it comes to micro enterprise, I will see that is it profit oriented or not. If it is not, I am not going to say. Second, when I set up an IGA, I will be setting on my available skills. I know how to keep the poultry farm, I know how to process the food, then I will be setting my IGA. But when I go for a micro enterprise, what I will say is, my product marketable? Are the people going to buy my product? Is there any opportunity for that product? So, second difference is this. The third difference is very important, that is, I have always said that they do not focus on profit, but they focus on what? Income generation. Fine. But here when I say there is a strong focus on profitability, when I say micro enterprise, they are focusing on the profitability. In IGA, they are limited to one activity, they do not want value addition, but when I say this micro enterprise, they need to be creative and flexible, because if they are not flexible, they are not going to survive in the market. Risk naturally is low for IGA, but high in micro enterprises, because here your stake is high, and when we have higher investment, naturally the risk will be high. Fine. Here they want a very low growth rate, or they should have stable income, but here in the micro enterprises, the growth rate which is expected is high. And the very important, the last one is, the financial discipline could be missing, because my objective is what? Income generation. So, I will be focusing on it, but here the financial discipline is mandatory, because it is a formal organization, and for any type of formal organization, it is very important that the discipline is mandatory, because here the taxes are there or not, it is not important, but here I have to follow all the regulations and norms. So, this is the basic difference between IGA and micro enterprise, which is important for us to study and to discuss here. Before starting any enterprise or a micro enterprise, I have clearly said these micro enterprises are based on market assessment. What is this market assessment, and why do we need this market assessment? When we say the term assessment, it means I am evaluating something. Fine. And what is the market composed of? If we come to the definition of market, market is what? Where n number of buyers and sellers are there. And now if the characteristics of market are seen here, that means we are having the customers who have what? Who have different education, different employment, income, status and their preferences and opinions. So, now see, there are 5 or 6 parameters which are very clearly. We have varied customers which are having different types of education, income. See, my preference can be different from my family. So, each and every customer is valuable, and based on these preferences, based on these availability of resources, we have what we have to decide is, we have to decide the assessment of the enterprise, which type of enterprise is to be opened, and these factors also affect the profitability of the enterprise. So, we need to identify the market. For that, we go for a market demand analysis. What is a market demand for a product? It is important that when we have a product, there should be there should be a demand for the product. And what is that demand? Demand is what is the volume which is asked by a customer for a given period. This is the definition which is given by our marketing guru Philip Kotler, and it is very much prevailed everywhere. So, there are 6 important elements or variables which are analyzed for determining the market. The first one is the product. What type of product can be marketed or is to be produced or is already available in the market. Secondly, what are the volumes in which these products are marketable? Say, suppose if I am making certain products, so I have to keep in mind that the similar product or a competitive product, is it marketed earlier? Third, which type of customer group is going to buy my product or the services? Here I am talking about both the product as well as the services. In which geographical area should I be focusing upon? If suppose for example, I am setting my industry in an area where there is heavy rainfall and I am making certain products which cannot resist in the water, then what is the use of it? So, I have to check out my geographical area where I am going to market my product or produce my product. Then the time period when I am going to launch my product, how many competitors are available right now for the product or not. Fine. If I am not selecting a proper time period, maybe I am going to lose my customers. For example, if I am going to make certain shawls in a handicraft industry and I am going in an area where there is no winters at that time, I am not going to sell anything. Fine. And then comes your marketing environment, that is all the regulations and rules which we will be discussing in the next lecture in a detailed form. And what is the outcome of this demand analysis? Why do we need this demand analysis for micro enterprise? The first outcome is that I will be able to know what my customer want and at what price and what quality. For a particular segment of customers, what quality is and what price is to be fixed. Fine, because when I set any product, I have to set the quality and the price. Second, I will get the information about the buying behavior, what type of product, how do they buy, how frequently they buy, and I also get the idea about the strength and weaknesses of competitors who are in the market. Then I will also have the assessment and knowledge of the trade practices which my competitors are doing. Fine. So, here now what we have discussed in this section is 2 important aspects. First, what is an IGA and how does it differ from a micro enterprise, because when I talk of microfinance, we need to discuss both of this. And when I am going to launch my micro enterprise, it is important I should assess myself, and this I do with the help of market assessment, which is helpful in assessing the market environment and the customers which are ready to buy my product. This is important when I go for environmental analysis of my product or service which I am going to produce through my industry, which is micro industry. And in the next lecture, when I will be continuing, we will be coming with the environmental analysis of the same, of the micro enterprises. So, I hope that this will be a learning for you to start with the micro enterprises. Thank you.